Alrighty, so the beauty of order blocks is what you're seeing before you right now, before your very own eyes. Now, I figured that I would go ahead and put this on since it's a trade that I just got. I thought that it'd be really cool as a live trade. Was just actually sitting here. I was watching a YouTube video about something, just monitoring the market on the side. And then I happened to see this trade, and price just came up into the area. I didn't even have an alert set for this or anything like that. So here is my MT4, and then we'll just jump over to pound yen. Man, this thing's going into profit really nicely right now. So I want to break this trade down and kind of almost while it's happening would be really cool. So this is a stop out right here, and then I put on another position and I manually executed it as well. Woo! I'm digging this. But here's what I want to point out. Okay, so let's break the trade down a little bit right now. So what I saw here was I saw this 10-minute order block sitting right here, and then I saw a really good break of structure. So remember, the quality of the order block is the quality of the move is going to go up when it breaks something. Now, I'm not saying every single trade I've ever taken, I wait for the break of an area, but I do want to emphasize that the quality will go up with a break. And so then I drop down to the 1 minute. Okay, so price, basically what price did is give this 10-minute order block, have a dramatic move away. It broke good structure, and then it came back and price tapped into this 10-minute order block. Then what follows is just a lot of price movement, slowly coming back up to the area right there. So now we're in live price. So let's go to the 1 minute and just zoom over here a little bit. And these green lines, just because it was so far away, I just thought, I'm just going to mark the top and I'm going to mark the bottom of the order block area. Now, usually what I would do is just something along the lines of that, but just because it was so far stretched, then I just decided to plot those lines in. So that is our order block area right there. And so price came in and tapped. Now, ideally, what would happen is I would have liked to, on this specific trade, I would have liked to grab the fibs right there, and then I would have liked to have a short position ready with a limit order, looking something along the lines of like that. It could be a little bit higher with the stop loss. You can kind of do what you want there, but I would give it a little bit of space like that. Yeah, so just an automatic order would be really nice to have sitting there. But since I just saw this in real time going, then what I did was I didn't even take into account the fibs. I'm going to have to check that out in a minute. And so when this candle came up and had that rejection, this one came down. That's about where I saw the trade was right here. And so what I waited for was basically the trade had this candle, came back up a little bit, and at some point right around here, I got into the trade manually. I put my stop above the high of this candle, and then I targeted this low right here, this recent 1 minute low. Stopped me out, came up to basically the entirety of the 1 minute refined order block, and then when it pulled back, I ended up executing the trade right around here, went and threw the stop loss right up here, and then ever since that, it's just been making its way down. Now, right here, it did have a little bit of a pullback and a little bit of a almost kind of a little double top right there, and then it's broken this area. And because it's broken this area, that really gives me a lot of confirmation to stay in this trade. And I want to let you see, like, okay, we dropped the 200 right there. Actually, I want you to see this. We dropped the 14 and the 50 EMAs right here. And when I got in the trade and it was up here and maybe we just seen, a candle or two in profit, then, this is obviously showing, hey, we're in an uptrend right now. But we have to remember that it's catalysts like this, okay, like having an order block and then price finding momentum and moving the other way, that actually makes these EMAs change their course. So this is a lagging indicator. This is not going to show you something that's happened. Happening or is going to happen. It's going to show you something that has happened. And so, just keep that in mind. Like, just these are only for a reference. All indicators are just a reference point, okay? So right here, it looks like it is consolidating right now on the 200. I want to see if it's going to make a move up. I want to see if it's going to continue to consolidate or break below and get some space there. But I want to talk about the profit target, because right here, if we go to the 10-minute chart, I mean, you can go to the 10-minute chart, you can go to the 15-minute chart. Sometimes there's a little difference, sometimes there's not much of a difference. So here, like, I'll just show you, here's the 15-minute chart, and yeah, I must have mapped this out on the 10 because I'm not really liking the way that that's lining up there. So let's go to the 10, just looking for an area of potential support. Okay, so whatever, man. It lines up about the same way, but I'm not saying that I would take a trade, necessarily like this is a clean level and stuff like that. All I'm looking for in this context is I'm not necessarily looking for a support trade. I'm just looking for an area where, hey, if price comes down, where is it kind of obvious that we could find some support from? And so this one stood out to me right here. So you got price. I know it comes down a little bit past the line, but then it has a bunch of rejection wicks, a little bit of a move down, break, then a retest, come down, double bottom, and then, we see this move come from there. If this was if I was, first of all, if I was doing a support and resistance trade, I would go off the 15. And then, yeah, I would actually map this out. I would actually map this out for a support and resistance trade. And the reason why is it's just these two places that it has come down are just so clear and so clean. And you could even map this in right there to where it had a little bit of a pullback, a break, and then right there. Because remember, that's where this whole move right here is coming from, is this area of support. So, what once looks bad, looks good. What is that old saying? Borrowed blue, I forget it. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's manage this trade. So, now come to think of it, I will actually look for a potential trading opportunity off this area of support if price gets there. But the mentality behind the profit target is it's simply a 15-minute low. It's simply a recent 15-minute low. I could go with this one. I could go with this one. I could go with this one. I've chosen to go with this one right here. I really just want to see how this responds off the 200 right here. I'm not going to be like, oh no, it's busted past the 200. I want to give it a few minutes. I'm not going to be hasty with this. You guys ever seen Aladdin? Let's not be too hasty. It's a great movie, one of my favorite movies from childhood. Okay, so this is gonna roll. This is rolling right here. Let's jump back to the MT4, and we're getting into some good profit right now. I haven't taken anything off. I'm going to move this to stop loss because at some point you need to decide, am I going to be the guy who just, keeps his stop loss open the entire time, or am I going to be the guy that eventually protects himself? You want to protect yourself at some point. You can go to the management section of the course for more details on that. So we're at break even now. Haven't taken anything off. And then I think what I'm going to do is just come back and we'll just kind of see how this plays out. Alrighty, so you can see what has happened. And here's what I want to point out is that price came into this 1 minute order block, right? It already had the structure broken. This is our entry right here. And then look what it's left us. I know the colors are kind of funky, so it can be hard to see, but it's left us an order block right here. Okay, then that has been mitigated by this, but then I wanted to make sure and see if that was mitigated. Then it left us this with a nice clean drop. So there's an order block sitting here, and then it left us this with a nice clean drop, an order block sitting here. So price could come back and it could totally blow through our stop loss and just disrespect everything, okay, trade over style. Or it could come back and it could mitigate this order block and find momentum, or it could just go through it and mitigate this one and then find more momentum. So it's really imperative that you have a way that you're going to manage your trade and that you're comfortable managing your trade, okay? Because even though you need to commit to the trade, it's kind of like those, if you've ever seen those caving videos, when they get to a really small hole and it gets like super duper scary, but they've kind of started to go into the cave, then sometimes you'll hear them say, hey, commit, because once you commit, then your mind's in the zone, you're in the game, you can squeeze your body, you know, where you need to, and you're going to better get through that small hole instead of just kind of, you know, I'm panicking, I don't know what to do. It's the same thing with trading. Once you get into a trade, you need to commit to that trade, but you need to have management, okay? You need to have a form of management that you're going to employ. So commit to the trade, follow your management, commit to that management. I'm not saying that you can't change it. I have times when, oh, hey, look, you know, something happened that I wasn't expecting or I didn't anticipate, or, you know, market changeover has come and this trade's been on way longer than I thought that it was going to be, and I have to make decisions. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is, you know, are you going to trail your stop on this trade? Are you going to take partials at 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 or 1-to-5? Are you simply going to go to break even and let it go to TP? That sort of a thing. So make sure that those choices that you make that you're comfortable with, because in reality, this trade could come back on me right now and I would have to say, okay, I'm going to trail my stop here, or I'm fine getting taken out at break even. So make sure that you're making management decisions that make sense for you and that you're comfortable with. We'll go pop over to the MT4 right now. We're at a little bit under $1,000. And we'll go ahead and let this play out, and we'll come back. All right, here we go, baby. It's take profit time, okay? Or maybe. So you want to think about that when you have this kind of a trade on. You want to get your, you know, trailing stop involved in this and all that good stuff. I've just got these lines on here. I just had them on there for reference for a moment. And then right here, I mapped out some unmitigated order blocks that price has left behind. Obviously, it just left this one right here. So when we talk about mitigation, we're just talking about the order blocks that have been left. There's a break, and then we just have this really nice clean order block sitting there. So price could come back and tap these if it didn't want to come and just, you know, change direction and blow past, you know, our trade right here, my trade. Then what it would do, that's it right there, man. That was the take profit right there. What it might do is come back and tap this and gain momentum downward, or come back and tap this and gain more momentum downward. Are you okay with price going all the freaking way back up here to possibly gain more momentum? So those are the decisions that you have to make, and you have to be aware, man. And like, you have to choose a management style that you're going to employ on your trades, okay? It doesn't have to be the same one every time. You can test, you can experiment. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to do that, but you have to go into this with some form of management. So mine was, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to let it push down a little bit, then I'm going to throw it into break even, not going to take any profit off, and as long as it continues to break, then I'll let it have a pullback, and then it breaks, then I'll let it have a pullback, then it breaks. You know, I'll let it have a pullback down and down and down. As soon as it showed me, like right here, I was really watching intently right here, because I was like, you know what? If this pushes up like right here, then what I would do is probably use my trailing stop, put it right there, and then as maybe if it had a pullback right here, then I would push my trailing stop down or just close the trade. So just as long as you have a form of management, man, that's all that's necessary. And like, literally, you know everything that I did for this trade. It is not rocket science. You don't have to be a genius. 1-9, man. So, you know, this is really good profit if you take into account the loser, And then the RR on the winner, it's just things are looking really, really good. You can see how, you don't have to be worried about like, oh God, I'm not going to get enough trades to be profitable, or I have to take every trade that comes this way, my way, or anything like that. Like, you don't have to be this trade hunter that's sitting out in the bush for like 2-3 weeks at a time, sniping out the perfect trade. Now, what we are looking for is perfect executions. Okay, we're looking for picture perfect setups. We're looking for things that are like, wow, man, I want to be in that trade. I want to be a part of that. But as you can see, the opportunities just they come along over and over and over again. So, is there anything that I'm just thinking? Is there anything that I can say about the management of this trade? I mean, it's pretty dang straightforward, and I'm just going to keep doing this over and over and over and over again. So yeah,